my name is Uros, and I will tell you what the transmission network means for the final consumer. I will also emphasize how very much linked we are to the European electricity market, what our experience is with interconnections, and of course this is all very much related to renewable energy sources and to the added value that ELES can generate also in the future through new development plans. First, let me briefly touch upon our requirements under the law. We need to operate the electricity network, and we also need to plan the network, envisage the investment projects, and maintain the network. On the other hand, expectations by the external public are very high. In addition to all these legislative requirements, they expect us to ensure that the operation of the network is optimum, that we generate the best possible business result, and many segments also expect us to achieve the highest possible transmission capacities and to increase these transmission capacities in order to enable the market to grow, not only in Slovenia but also across the region. Now, if I say a couple of words on the electricity market, we cannot overlook the value of the transmission network with interconnections for the electricity market. The value can be defined quite simply in the following manner. We take a look at the prices in Slovenia and in the neighboring power networks. These values are then multiplied by the quantities of the electricity that can be transmitted across borders. And if this is then multiplied, we get for Slovenia an approximately 50 million or 50 to 60 million euro per year. This is the value that is generated on our borders, and this is a piece of information which, when talking about the new challenges arising from the renewables, needs to be borne in mind. It's also very important to say that this 50 to 60 million euro are the funds which is relocated or moved from some market to Slovenia. So this is a market that has a strong base in Slovenia, with which we can generate also the added value in the Slovenian economy, thus reducing network charges and bringing down the costs that the energy or electricity users have to pay for the security of their supply. It is very important that when we speak of the structure of these costs, when we talk about the revenues in electricity trading, so in this structure, much of the transit trading is included. So 1/4 of these revenues only come from the supply of domestic consumers. For that reason, it is very important to know how we act towards the market, how we act and what is our attitude to these transmission capacities, and we also need to know what these turbulent times mean in terms of the renewable sources. Renewables are a big challenge for transmission networks, so they are not only a challenge for other production in the system, but they're also a big challenge for the transmission network. The fluctuation in sources mean that flows dwindle, and the normal consequence is that transmission capacity is dropping. We cannot have it all, the bigger market and the bigger capacity than we had in the past. Of course, this is possible under normal conditions, but if there is a very strong and strategic approach which we are maintaining in ELES, which is not only to build the classical network but also to invest into additional facilities. So here you see a big facility of a transformer in Divača, with which ALS not only maintained its transmission capacity at the level from the past, but even managed to increase these capacities. So what did we achieve with this transversal transformer in Divača? Here you see the electricity flows through Slovenia, and primarily these fluctuations are noticeable in these peaks. These are critical flows through Slovenia, or critical transit through Slovenia, and here the only possibility is to limit the commercial capacities. Of course, with the use of the transverse transformer, which is this blue curve, with this we achieve more stable conditions, and we make it possible to not only maintain but even to increase transmission capacity. If we see the Slovenian-Italian border there, we managed to increase the capacity from 430 to 630 megawatts. And of course there are possibilities to further increase this capacity through the use of such technologies. Now, moving from the challenge posed by renewables to the challenge of constructing new transmission lines, I will be very quick because I know that most of you are familiar with the situation. Here are the main investment projects by ALS. We have constructed Krško-Veričevo, Crkovce-Pirce. We have also strengthened the loop through Slovenia. We have constructed Okroglo-Udine line, and we also plan to build an underwater line between Italy and Slovenia. With all these investments, we can generate an additional 50 to 60 million in value, meaning that we can double the value of the transmission network in terms of electricity trading. I think that this piece of information speaks volumes, and that we should all pause and think what this means when we introduce more renewables and when we try to respond to other challenges in Slovenia. Of course, these investments require stable financial revenues, and here we are in the good hands of the Slovenian regulator, the Energy Agency of the Republic of Slovenia, and we also see that financial requirements are not equally dispersed. So it is very important how we manage this financial burden. Still, these investments are not excessive in my view, and I think that they bring very much added value for Slovenia. And this is also shown by the comparison which ALS produced for a foreign operator. This is a comparison that we continuously perform, and it shows that in Slovenia we transmit most per kilometer of network, that we invest above the European average, that we have the third lowest revenue per transmitted megawatt hour, so we are at the tail of the European Union when it comes to revenues, but also that our expenditure is at a similar level. This means that the transmission network is a very important factor in the operation of the Slovenian and the regional market, that we are also providing a strong support to the European level, and that there is still much untapped potential in Slovenia in this respect, and there are many opportunities for further expansion and for further increases in all these values. Thank you very much.